All right, what's up, guys? It's the Washington Submission Series Combat Jiu-Jitsu Invite post-game show, aka the Duck-Jitsu podcast. Really quick, we are sponsored by AEP Apparel, Dreamwalk Coffee, Enumclaw Jiu-Jitsu, Grind 3 CBD, and yours truly, Duck-Jitsu. So we're going to get into the matches from our card, starting with the bottom of the card, and we're just going to kind of leave it in an open forum discussion. I have with me Liam, Alfie, and Michael Dreyer over here, so they're going to help me out. Yeah, sorry, there's construction outside. So first match on our card, we had Kira Songer and Jada Hernandez. You guys have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm Alfie, aka Jiu-Jitsu.
Well, this is going to be a great start.
Are you a sponsor on this? Jiu-Jitsu?
Jiu-Jitsu, what?
Are you a sponsor on this?
No, I'm not a sponsor on this one.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, you can be.
Nobody asked me to sponsor him.
Well, now's the best time to ask.
I'll sponsor him.
All right.
Alfie actually said he was sponsoring the Nikki Sullivan Aislam match, but it never happened.
You need to let me know how much money I need to pay.
It was established. He offered. He said, "Man, I will sponsor Nikki Sullivan versus Aislam." It just never happens.
You know what? I'll sponsor after the fact. All right.
You two commentate the whole event?
Yeah.
The whole thing? Okay.
Yeah.
So
we are. Me and Michael Dreyer over here are the commentators for this event. We're the annoying people talking in the background.
So first match on our card, we had Kira Songer and Jada Hernandez. All right, guys. So what do you guys think of Kira versus Jada?
I think it was a solid match. Both girls have really strong wrestling. It was fun to watch them compete. It's fun to watch two young ladies grapple at the pace that they did, especially when you see higher level grown men who are afraid to engage. When you see these two girls getting after it, it really set a good tone, I think, for the night.
Yeah, I'd agree. Pretty good pace for the first match of the night. If I remember, it went at least over 5 minutes or went in pretty deep, and both of them had pretty dominant positions both ways. I think there was a submission at the end, RNC, by Jada, which was really a nice catch. You don't usually see that type of catch off someone defending a body lock grip like so, but yeah, really good start, to the card. I love a match that has just back and forth, both players getting good dominant positions, and it's pretty much a scrap the whole time, and they both have decent wrestling, so solid match. Yeah,
this one wasn't combat jiu-jitsu though, right? The first two matches on the card weren't, I believe.
No.
All right.
These were some of the 8-minute matches, which didn't follow the combat jiu-jitsu rules.
Good. What did you think of the match, Austin?
Well, so making it, this is a rematch at the Revolution tournament, and actually Kira won the match. It actually kind of went pretty similar to how this one went, other than I felt like Jada took her back fairly early on, and she wasn't able to finish. And then Kira ended up coming back and winning the match, where this one pretty much went the exact opposite, where Kira dominated early on positionally, throwing up attacks, and Jada later on in the match found a way to Kira's back. So it was one of the better matches on the night. It was really well matched as far as the skill level, and Kira is one of those competitors. She takes a lot of risks, so it's fun watching her. She occasionally makes mistakes, but she's constantly going for it. She actually recently had a match with Carrie Baldwin, who was on the card, and she beat her in EBI overtime at the Axe Fight Night event. So, and I know in the past she's lost a couple times to Carrie Ann. So I know that was a big win for her. And it's nice that, she came back after this loss, and she put on like a really, really good match against Carrie Ann, who's state championship wrestler and one of the up and coming grapplers in the area. I mean, all these girls are. In a couple years from now, they could easily be competing on EBI or ADCC. Might take 3-4 years, but they all these girls could be competing at a high level in a fairly short amount of time. All right, let's get on to the second match of the day, the night. We have Loren and Kiana. Loren's training at 10 kicks. She's primarily a striker. She does a lot of MMA, a lot of kickboxing. And then Kiana, who trains right here at Kindred. So this is a pretty good match. I kind of wish it would have been CJJ, though. I do. I know Kiana said after she would do a CJJ, but...
Really?
Yeah, we couldn't get her beforehand to do the CJJ. Yeah, it would have been, I think, a little bit better.
But match was still solid. Yeah, I can definitely see this match if it was CJJ. There would have been a lot of positions for strikes. If I remember correctly, Kiana... this match also goes pretty late, but eventually there is a submission later.
In regulation?
I think it's a shorter match.
No, I'm pretty sure there was an armbar in like the last minute or two of the match, considering that it is a 8-minute and 30-second video.
With the interviews.
With interviews included?
Yeah,
okay.
Interviews are on that too. So
Okay,
it's probably... Maybe we can find the exact...
Is it a 10-minute match or 8-minute match? So it seems like in the last, if I recall being there, it was like in the later stages, there's an armbar caught by Kiana, and it looks like Kiana just... Yeah, she trains at Kindred. I also train at Kindred, and I remember her taking this match. I hadn't seen her train in a while, so I was really curious how she was gonna do, but she seemed to throw a ton of attacks throughout the whole match, which was very nice to see. But I think Kiana still gets her reps in somewhere, but...
Yeah, she does every now and then. I know she trains at Cascade up in Everett.
Yeah.
She lives more up north anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So... But yeah, that was the scary thing going into this is a couple life things always get in the way, and not being able to train very much before this, a few times in a month before this.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was still really solid display. I mean, Kiana's attacking basically nonstop the entire time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I truly don't know where Kiana's game lies, but yeah, I see that she favors the armbar game. Yeah, and it was a repeating joke leading up to this match, oh, Kiana, I haven't seen you, or you haven't been training, or whatnot, and all that jazz. But I always find it bold for someone to take up a match, even though they, haven't been training, and then they still are able to perform on said day. I know she always jokes about her cardio and stuff, but it looked pretty good for this match. I definitely was panting towards the end, and was making Loren also, use her gas tank as well. But yeah, just watching through this clip right now, it looks like Kiana's just grilling with a lot of topside attacks, which is awesome to see.
What do you think, Michael?
That was a fantastic performance, and it really does demonstrate that once we start grappling, we can take some time off and still hit the mats, even when we're not, fresh off of training the week before, and still put on a great show and a dominant performance. So it's kind of like riding a bike sometimes. The timing isn't always there, but the skill set remains.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was definitely rooting for Loren here. Just training. No, I went to Portland actually. I didn't know her last session was when I came back from Portland. I think I saw her on the mats. I didn't realize she hadn't been training beforehand, but she put on a display of just positional dominance the first portion of the match, and she looked really, really good. So I was surprised, and I told her after we're gonna get her a tougher match, so she better be training. We're gonna get a Nikki Sullivan. We're gonna throw her in there with some heavy hitters just to motivate her to train. So, but overall, both ladies look pretty good. I was surprised. I was definitely surprised. I thought it'd be a little bit closer. I thought Loren would positionally dominate kind of the positions, and she'd be really, really, really hard to submit. And I thought cardio-wise, too, she was going to push Kiana in that aspect where I didn't really see Loren getting submitted. So Kiana surprised me there. She surprised me. I didn't think she was going to be able to pull that off. I think I underestimated her. And I maybe overestimated Loren's ability to not get submitted, because previously when I've seen her, she's been just really difficult to get in leg entanglements, to get in triangles, and she's always been really resilient in those positions, and she was during this match too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would still say that. I mean, within the first half of this match, Kiana probably threw up 6 or 7 pretty decent attacks, and Loren was able to stay out of all of them until the very end. So
she
yeah.
might have been slightly injured too going into this match.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to 10 kick striking, and I definitely saw her off to the side the week of this event. I didn't ask her what was going on just because Kiana trains at Kindred. I don't want to think I'm snooping or something, but I did see she was having some issues. I forgot what it was.
Yeah. As the promoter, though, I think it's pretty safe to say you're impartial the entire time.
Yeah, sure.
He certainly didn't just
see this
admit he
being a
had somebody.
pretty good CJJ match in and of itself, just looking at all the positions they run through right now.
Run it back.
So, yeah, that would have been interesting with CJ, especially if Loren trains MMA too, right? That's what it says in the title here. She an MMA fighter?
Yeah.
Actively?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, then she could have.
She's had
that
quite a
definitely could
few
have changed
fights.
things.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely seen Loren compete. Not too familiar with her training and who she trains with. I know she's at 10 kicks, yeah. But I've definitely seen her in the competition scene for sure. But yeah, just looking at it right now, this CJ match would have been really good too for these two especially. But maybe they'll run into each other some other time in the future.
I was just saying, my favorite moment of this match actually came from the corner, Kiana's corner.
Bryson?
Yeah, not a lot of people could hear it, but there was one point where he turned around and looked at one of us and said, "I don't think she knows what a Kimura grip is. There's a lot of opportunities for that." And she looks up. It's actually, you could see her when she's sprawling, I think, on that last takedown. You could see her looking up at him, confused, annoyed. It's pretty great.
I actually remember looking at Bryson when Loren had Kiana in a leg lace pin, and I think he just accepted that he didn't know what to do for her there, so that he kind of just shrugged his hands, and she
Right.
just was shrugged too.
All right, so Austin Miller, Thomas, is that
Harpring.
Harpring.
Harpring. All right.
Yeah, famous for his Harpringatine. Sorry, I just made that up.
So this was definitely one of my favorite matches on the night, and I wouldn't have cared if these guys would have done a regular jiu-jitsu match. Just being completely honest, the combat jiu-jitsu aspect of this match made it a lot more interesting. Watching two white belts grapple, not my favorite thing in the world, but watching these guys slap each other in the face,
Amazing.
it was hilarious. So
There weren't too many strikes, or there were some good.
There were some
solid
strikes towards the end.
Yeah, towards
no,
the
there's
end.
some good strikes.
They could throw some.
Yeah.
The jiu-jitsu was overall pretty good, I'd say. Thomas really representing his AEP with 3 solid blast doubles.
I thought you were going to say representing the rash guard, but
I mean, he's literally representing the rash guard, but his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu showed in toe too, with how he's been training with wrestling especially. And then I thought, even though on those doubles, some of his head was getting caught in some guillotines along the way. Some of them actually look kind of deep, but I can't really tell. Sometimes Thomas has a very bold or enthusiastic face when he's grappling. It's very interesting to watch. His eyes are sometimes bulging, and you're just like, is this choke killing you, or like, are you just like really in the zone? I wasn't sure, but
Yeah,
at
talking
least
to
it was
him,
for one of them.
talking to him afterward, like his face was so red during that first guillotine. But talking to him afterwards, he was like, "Yeah, no, I was totally fine." He's like, "It wasn't strangling me at all." And I was like, "Dude, your head looked like a tomato, right?" Like, but he said he was in no danger. So yeah, I see what you're saying about the faces. No, honestly, like
Yeah.
this match was my main event. I was looking forward to this so much. Like Austin said, watching two white belts smack each other in the face, I was definitely looking forward to that. So, yeah, it was cool to see the wrestling. And these two are from what we call second cousin schools. One's from Enum Claw Jiu-Jitsu and one's from Kindred. And they train together actually, probably once every couple times a month. So, same size, basically same skill level. So it's fun to see how it turned out when everything was like on the line. I mean, they've also competed against each other now. I think this is their second or third time because they also competed, I think, at like one of the Washington Submission Series Open tournaments as well. So, but that wasn't combat jiu-jitsu.
This is a great example of seeing what stick to your game plan means at different levels. These two may not have had a whole repertoire of things to go at, but they really stuck to their game plan throughout the entire match, whether it was working or not, and really just tried to force it on one another. It was fascinating seeing the 3 double legs get landed in a row, and Austin never bring his hips back once to prevent that, representing Bobby by keeping high and tall in all aspects.
Yeah.
Austin's going to change at the Jiu-Jitsu Co-op this weekend, I'm sure. And shout out to Zach Hernandez, really, Thomas's wrestling coach. It's probably, one of Zach's biggest accomplishments, teaching Thomas how to shoot a double, because this guy came in with no experience in wrestling, and he looks like a stud out here on Austin. He looks like he's a collegiate level, Division III wrestler for sure. For sure. He looks like he could have, made it through, maybe placed at state, came a walk-on at Highline Community College. He's looking scrappy. Like this match was it's like two brothers going at it, slapping each other.
So what you're saying is after this weekend's co-op, he'll basically be eligible for a tattoo?
Possibly. I know Austin's going to be. I think Austin's stand-up philosophy is grab their head.
It's
Are they both going to be at the co-op?
No, Thomas is out of town this weekend.
Thomas out of town.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that'll just equal them out.
Hopping on another point Alfie made earlier, like I do find matches to be more exciting if you've kind of like have rolled or trained with said person you're competing against. I get there's like a little bit of that, like you kind of pass the feeling out process when you have a little bit of knowledge of their game already, especially if you felt it through training. So like Alfie said, they've trained maybe once a month or they've competed against each other before. So, I mean, I even remember like competing against Alfie. It's like you kind of, once you train with them, I've also competed against Alfie like after we've trained a couple of sessions, and it's like it kind of livens up the match. You get past the feeling out process, which can take a couple of minutes within a match, and then you just get right to business. It seems Thomas in this match got right to business with his double legs, which is great to see. And he was really fearless. Usually, I've cornered Thomas before, and he's pretty fearless with that double leg. If you corner him, you just like tell him the double leg, or like ask something of him. He kind of does it on demand. So it's good to see that even in jiu-jitsu, like you can get choked and stuff, and your head sticks out in some of these double legs or single legs. It's still good to be bold and attempt it, especially in training, because in training, if you get submitted, whatever, you learn from it, and then you just keep improving off that knowledge. But would have liked to see more strikes this match. They did get some really heavy ones at the end, and then they went to OT, and even OT itself was like really, really close on the time in terms of I think Thomas was like in RNC, and then Austin ran out of time, even though Thomas had just submitted Austin earlier the round before and with an RNC, but Austin ran out of time in his overtime 2-minute sequence. So
very close overall, yeah.
I love the kicks in the match. I want to take full credit for this because I think Thomas got this from me trying to do foot sweeps, but these guys are just straight up kicking each other. Just no foot sweep intended. Like Austin just took he basically took himself down right there. He just took his leg off the mat and he gave it to Thomas and he gave him another
shit out of
takedown.
each other, man.
You know.
Yeah,
Both
this
these
is
guys, they know how to finish a match. It was quite exciting for the audience too, and I think this is why you do combat jiu-jitsu. You keep it moving, you keep it aggressive.
The turn back slap.
The turn back slap.
You know, a lot more scrambles, a lot more
Spinning back
movement when
slap.
it comes to combat jiu-jitsu.
You know what? I'm making I'm gonna get a petition. Every white belt jiu-jitsu match from now on, combat jiu-jitsu. You don't get to do regular jiu-jitsu matches until blue belt.
Yeah, definitely if it's on a show. And I mean, these guys are both they're blue belt level. These guys are good, you know, solid white belts. You know, Bobby, you hear that? You get Austin a blue belt pretty soon. So both these guys they're not brand new white belts. They're doing good jiu-jitsu. You know, they hit multiple moves during the match, and they're not just spazzing out grabbing collar ties. So I just want that to be said. You know, their jiu-jitsu looked pretty good out there. Yeah, and I was surprised too by Thomas's finish. I didn't realize his back game was to the level it was at. So it was nice getting to see that in competition. Him getting the finish, winning in the overtime rounds. Our next match is going to be Chris Hunter versus Alex Larmy, and this possibly was the number one. There's so many good matches on this card. I really can't complain, but I really liked Chris Hunter and Alex Larmy. So let's get to it.
I think it really had something to do with the coaching, if you ask me.
For those of you who don't know, Michael was in Chris's corner. Honestly, I did appreciate your cornering. I thought it was great.
I think we should talk more about that. This match, not important.
So just as, you know, putting white belts in combat jiu-jitsu makes it a lot more exciting, so does putting heavyweights with slaps. They hit way harder, and when they're being lazy and they're not moving on the ground, they just get hit, and it's definitely more entertaining. I've never seen heavyweight matches this exciting, and I think it was due to the forced movement of the strikes.
Yeah, I think with the size especially, man, you catch one good freaking bear paw, like you go straight out. You can't risk even getting hit once. Even the body shots, which a lot of times in combat jiu-jitsu, I see body shots not really...
They're being ignored.
Yeah, they're kind of ignored. But, like, if you listen to the body shots, like, later on in this match, like, they were loud thumps. They were hollow. It was super aggressive. And it got the person on bottom to move, or person on top to move around.
And in a lot of these cases, due to the movement that we make, in jiu-jitsu, exposing our ribs and stretching out, you can really hit those floating ribs. They're not, the core isn't tight. It's going to be solid shots. And there are a lot of opportunities, particularly when Chris gets on top, that he really does drop some heavy shots into those ribs while Alex is turned away. Not that it paid off too much in the end, but...
Yeah, I think... Alex, oh my goodness. Okay, Alex basically had such a solid game plan. He just floated on top for the most part. Got to the back and just smacking Chris up from the back, and then being rotated in. As soon as he ended up on bottom and guard, he had a solid game plan to avoid getting hit. It was, I mean, let's be honest. Like he avoided the worst of it. I would say he still got hit quite a bit, but Chris, I don't think at any point really caught him clean with any good shots.
Yeah, I think Chris only really had the body shots you mentioned. I remember specifically, in terms of body shots, Chris Hunter was, if he was throwing heavy, he was throwing to the body in the positions he was in. I think it was most of it was like in Larmy's close guard. Could have been other positions as well. And then I remember Larmy getting a lot of these like pot shots on the head while they're scrambling around. And especially here when he takes his back and... I think, yeah, Alex definitely gets a lot more head strikes in, which forces Hunter to have to, move or barrel roll out to, like, give up his back on purpose and, go back and forth. But, yeah, usually, I mean, I haven't done a CJJ match. Usually I feel like the body shots You kind of ignore them at times, but like if like Hunter is hitting you or something, it seems like it would be a different story because those shots did sound incredibly loud. And then it just looks like here Laramie's trying to just basically get ton of submission time super hard on a much bigger dude like so I guess you have to strike him to open up. But it was an interesting match just because the size difference, and you're just waiting for someone pretty much to get their ass kicked at some point in time when a very heavy position presented itself.
Alex does a great job of demonstrating the power of 1 foot on a hip throughout
the
this.
rib strikes
Yeah.
here.
Keeping that distance and that ability to get away from these heavy shots, and just waiting for the right opportunity to escape as soon as Chris postured up in any of these situations.
Yeah, Alex has so much agility in this, man. Like, just constantly moving. Even like right now where he's on bottom, it's like he's still like Chris is still not settled, on top. I don't know. I think he definitely came in with a good game plan, and I mean honestly, Alex was a last minute replacement too. He only hopped in I think like the week of the event, maybe the week before. So pretty game of him.
Yeah, Alex was the smallest guy in the bracket. He had a match originally scheduled with a different opponent, but the guy had to pull out. So he hopped in like last second to the heavyweight bracket. And I would say being the smallest guy in the bracket kind of played to his advantage on his speed. And I think his cardio going into it, because he was the most conditioned. He was like, did you guys see any of the Instagram videos of him like hitting the bags?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, too, for Chris Hunter, he was coming off of COVID. He's another one of those guys that like we saw him in the training room, so he wasn't able to get in as much training as he would have liked for the event. But he did a great job. He did a great job. His match, it was one of the sickest matches on the night. But he definitely got fatigued. I think that was the biggest issue in the match, was how tired he got, and it was due to the training, I think, before the event.
Yeah, for sure. I think what was cool was like, even though Chris caught some good hands from Alex throughout this night, like it was fun to see him like step off the mat when he did. Just like, that was a lot of fun. I like this rule set. I want another match in this. I'm like, oh my god, dude. Like after that, like, dude, I don't know. It was insane, but I like that. I asked him, I was like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, dude, I'm totally fine. All right.
Okay.
So
I was worried for him when we got to the overtime on just like how he was holding his hands, and I was like, oof.
100%.
yeah.
It looks like Chris has not done too many overtime rounds from that spiderweb armbar position.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, I was like, I think Alex is going to take this. That's kind of, and it was just off the starting position.
Oh, 100%. Considering Chris Hunter had, not like the greatest training camp, as he admits himself. Seeing him in the room, like I saw him work some overtime rounds, but just not enough time to like correct his natural thought processes, like, and his game plans for those positions, because you don't always train for overtime, and overtime's not a thing that happens in every rule set, but it pops up a lot these days for like the EBIOTs. And exactly, Laramie picking Spider was kind of the end for Hunter, just because you could see it. His hand positioning choice was probably not the best for defending like an armbar, especially at like a heavier weight class where you're going to be dealing with much stronger opponents. So
Word.
Yeah. Overall, great match. So next
my-
match of the night, we have Edgar Montoya and Evan Anderson. Starting off, he's our biggest guy. Like he's 3 bills. Edgar's not small either, but Evan started off at a really fast pace for a big dude. I think that was one of the issues. Is his intensity just coming off the bat was at 90%. You can't keep that up. You can't keep that up for 10 minutes, especially a guy his size. Like he's going to be huffing and puffing by the end. Or he's gonna be a goddamn world champion, one of the two, because that boy is big. You know, he's really big, and for him to be moving that quickly, it's not easy. That's a lot of mass.
Yeah, I was gonna be honest. I didn't know who Edgar was going into this, and so like going into it, I thought that Evan was gonna come in and handle business, because like I've seen him in the room before. He's pretty solid, man, and I've seen him compete before, and he competes really well too, and him being like the biggest guy, but yeah, I was wrong. I mean, after the first minute, you could see Evan slowing down. Edgar was able to maintain pace, and basically just from about the first minute in, like Edgar started just kind of controlling the match and became inevitable at that point.
Yeah, I kind of disagree there. I think Evan controlled the short-term duration of the match. He was he slowed down. Like Edgar's a lot more efficient. Like his wrestling was a lot more clean. Like Evans looks kind of like overly rigid. A lot of movement that's not being utilized. That's getting him tired in the long term. But I thought early on Evan was kind of dictating the match. It's just Edgar kind of wrote him out there.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I meant, and I think efficiency is the right way to put it, for sure.
So I think later on when the shots start landing, Evan's toughness kind of bites him in the bottom there a little bit, as he doesn't seem to get as much out of the way as one would hope for the shots, and kind of takes a lot of those shots thinking he can just tough it out, and that is the downfall in the end. So his toughness sort of bit him there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he ate too many shots, just getting stuck in that turtle or quad pod. I was intrigued by the rules a little bit. Like if you do lift the leg, you're not technically allowed to. I mean, I'm assuming you might catch a stray one or two, but if there's a knee up or a leg up, you technically are not allowed to be. They can't strike you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be ass or two knees. So those are the technical rules. But whenever you're doing Eddie's events, you'll get, if you're trying to play the rules exactly, if you get hit in the face because you're trying to play that,
yeah,
they're definitely not going to DQ the other person. So that's...
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe Evan was completely gassed at the point, but, or, didn't really game the rules to his favor. Could have tried to maybe lift a leg just so that maybe the ref would allow, or would make it so he wasn't allowed to get hit. But he was eating a lot of shots from that bottom turtle. And
yeah, this was the only match of the night, I think, that ended in a TKO.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's just the story of the night. It was Evan. He wasn't efficient. He got really tired, and he stopped moving. Edgar didn't necessarily, knock him out, or he didn't necessarily cause significant damage. It was just the fact that Evan was just not moving. That was the issue and why we had to stop the match. Next match on the night, we have Carrie Ann Baldwin and Christy Kim.
Christy Kim, the kimchi killer. That's what her name on Instagram is, by the way. Just putting that out there.
And this one is a combat jiu-jitsu match. So, important note, there wasn't too much combat in this match, but they didn't need it. It was fast-paced right off the bat, good wrestling, good exchanges.
It was good to put the jiu-jitsu back into combat jiu-jitsu.
It is. This was one of the quicker matches all night. I did think Christy did a good job of kind of staying safe in some positions, but it was inevitable once Carrie Ann got her on the mat, just on her offense output, where Carrie Ann didn't really have anything to worry about defensively when it came to Christy's guard. So I think that was the major issue. So when you start to get on those defensive cycles and you can't go into an offensive attack, you're just bound to lose, because you're going to either get really tired or you're going to get caught in a submission. That's kind of what happened.
yeah, match pretty much flew by. Was it Mounted Darce was what ended the match. Darce, mounted Darce, something like
Just
that.
regular Darce. Next match on the night, we have Kola Shipment Tower versus Brooke Daniels.
This was another quick one too, wasn't it?
It was a very quick match. There's a little controversy, actually.
Oh, really?
I think I know what you're gonna talk about. Yeah.
Our referee made there was a misunderstanding on, I think, the rule set when it came to the get down rule, which we did not do for all the matches. But basically, if there's no takedown within the minute, we flip a coin, and whoever loses the coin toss, they're probably gonna have to be on bottom, depending on what the other player picks. So they can be on bottom or top, but it's just a coin toss. There must have been just a misunderstanding in the rules meeting on how we're doing that. I did say if the person's running away, we will give the choice to the other player. But this has to be pretty outrageous where they're just constantly moving backwards. Yeah. So most of the time it's going to go to just a coin toss. There has to be pretty bad stalling otherwise.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like how Cole was it because Cola like kind of
Yeah.
caught Brooke in like a front headlock right when get down rule got applied or something like that. I'm only saying this because I was the get down rule person, or I was telling Luis when down rule should be applied. But I do remember there was like a second, or right when we called for get down rule, like Cola might have pushed Brooke towards the wall and just got her in a front headlock. But I guess the main rule is like there has to be like a takedown or something by then. Like front head is not a takedown yet; it's just a so-so controlling position from the top, right? So, I mean, it's just learning more as we go. I wasn't sure how you wanted to apply get down rule in that scenario, but it makes sense that there has to be like an actual takedown first. Front headlock isn't technically a takedown. It's just
Yeah, the way Eddie explains it, there needs to be jiu-jitsu exchanges, and if you pull guard and then you engage and then you get up right away, that does not reset the get down rule. Mm-hmm. So there needs to be some significant groundwork to reset that get down rule. Very nice knee bar.
Nasty knee bar.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I even thought the outside heel attempt initially had some merit, but Cola seemed to not care. So
What I was surprised is how quickly Cola gave up the butterfly guard, like the double underhook position. Because it seemed like she held it for a moment, and then she kind of just fell to her hip and was trying to play like some sort of half guard. Either way, it was a solid match.
Yeah, I think Cola's guard isn't as developed as her top game. So I think that's kind of the issue with her style. She's really solid on top.
Awesome.
But definitely the guard work could be improved.
So on to the finals of the heavyweight CJJ bracket. So that's Alex versus Edgar. I know that these two...
quick match.
Yeah, it's another fairly quick match. Alex, during his interview afterwards, not his interview, but he kind of had like a little speech to the crowd afterwards and talked about how they actually train together quite a bit and that they're good friends outside of competition and everything, and that he was really thankful that Edgar didn't even that Edgar was cool with him joining into the bracket and everything as well. So
yeah, good old go. I didn't even know Larmy had like rubber guard in its repertoire, but that's cool to see, especially at like against bigger dudes, like at a bigger bracket.
Yeah, we saw him playing a little bit of that like upper or rubber guard with Chris even to prevent the strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, came into play. I didn't realize he got a go-go. I must have been busy during that match. So next match we have Wesley Cordova versus Mikey Gonzalez. So we have a CJJ World's veteran here. This is a pretty quick match, unfortunately.
It's another example of tenacity.
Right here. Catches the heel, but Luis resets them. Or stops them because they're rolling out of bounds towards the audience. And
I mean, honestly, we can just rewatch that entire thing. That
you
was
have
so
to
quick.
do it. Yeah, unfortunate, but I mean, it depends on the rules. But here, there was a reset with the heel bite included, and
Maybe
feel
just
like that's
accept that one.
That's a hard thing. That's a really hard thing to figure out. I guess I remember speaking to Vikram about it after the match, and it's like, for the sake of our needs, if I get caught in a reset and a heel hook, I'm probably most of the time just gonna call the match at that point. Like, I mean, I'm okay with however the rule set goes and how things play out. So if the ref resets us and the heel hook has to be, included, then more often than not, after discussing with like our buddy Vikram, probably gonna just be like, hey, I'm good.
Yeah, they win.
Like, just they can have the match because I don't think I'm going to get out of this, or I don't want to risk having to just have a snap reset on it in a heel hook. So
Yeah, Wesley's competes so well, man. He's super aggressive on the feet, but I mean, here's what I was thinking, like right at the end of it, like because I drove Mikey to and from the event, and he was talking to me a little bit about it, and he seemed, I don't know if not like upset, but he was like, he didn't hear like a cheer, I guess is the way he put it, and he thought that people were upset with him or upset at the reset, and it's like, at the end of the day, you're going until the ref says stop, and you're rolling off the mat. You go for the heel bite regardless because you don't know if the ref is going to stop it, let it go.
Yeah.
The ref stopped it after he got the heel bite, so like as far as I'm concerned, like it was a clean reset for me. I do agree though, like with you and Vikram, in the sense of like, if I'm caught in that severe of a heel hook, like that solid of a leg positioning, like I'm gonna tap right off the bat. I mean,
just call the match there. Like I'm down to call a match there. I wish they would have gone longer. They look like amazing grapplers. I haven't seen either of them roll, but that looked like that would have been a truly like quite a scrap if the match was extended match. I think they're both amazing grapplers from what it looked like.
Yeah, they're both very scrappy, I would say, in like in different ways. Like he could, Mikey, like he enters in legs like it's so simple for him. He's super flowy and like aggressive with it. And Wes is such a strong wrestler. It would have been fun to see what would happen if some strikes were exchanged as well. But
I feel like there was no applause or whatever Mikey was searching for because there was an audible pop that we heard. So everyone was more so
concerned about that.
Yeah, wincing at the idea of like I'm not sure if Wesley. I think his ankle just ended up popping.
That's what I was going to ask, right? That's what we heard.
His knee, so that's much better than.
Yeah.
I don't know the actual details, but that's what I've heard.
I mean, they both suck, but I would definitely take an ankle pop over a knee pop.
Make no mistake, Wesley goes out of bounds. He's not going to stop. He's a high-level competitor. He's not at a local tournament. The guy, he's very scrappy. Unfortunately, I think, again, this is one of those cases where I underestimated someone and I overestimated someone. And I thought this would be a better match, but I do think Mikey is he's on a different level. He's on a different tier. Wesley, he's scrappy. He's good. I saw one of his combat jiu-jitsu matches, and I thought these guys were just going to beat the crap out of each other. It didn't turn out that way. Mikey was a way better leg locker. I had no idea he was a leg locker. Like, I had no idea. I saw this guy get a TKO finish at Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds and just knock somebody dead. And that's kind of what I was thinking was going to happen this match.
He actually talked about that during the ride down, and he actually was not as proud of himself for getting that TKO finish as everybody else was. He apparently there was something to do with an eye poke that was a little bit aggressive and continuing to happen, and so that's what brought out the TKO finish in that particular case, was a bit of a, hey, I told you not to poke me in the eye. So he really wanted to demonstrate some of his jiu-jitsu and put that on display this particular time around, and so got the opportunity and really put on that leg lock show. So
Yeah,
that was quick.
I forgot all about that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, he made quick work, and hopefully we have Wesley back, and we'll get him a tougher match, and we'll have Mikey back, and we'll have Wesley back too, and we'll find him someone that still good, but maybe just a tier down in competition. This was the co-main event, so it was a professional matchup between these two guys. So now we are on to the main event. We have Nikki Sullivan versus Aislinn O'Connell, submission only. It's going to be a tough one for me to watch. So if you guys don't know, Nikki Sullivan's an Autos black belt under Andre Galval. She finished second place at ADCC trials, actually twice. I didn't realize that. I know she was the runner-up in 2019. I believe she should have been an ADCC competitor. There was a dropout in the bracket, and usually the second place person gets that spot, but just because of the location of that ADCC, it made it difficult, and they gave someone else the spot for getting in. So she has been at the top of the sport for a while. She's Medusa. She's been runner up, I believe, once, but it might have been more than that. I know. I remember her and Brianna were in the finals at, I believe, the first Medusa.
Yeah, this match, I don't remember actually, Austin, if you already said it or not, but it was no time limit. So the previous pro invitational that Wasa put on, the no time limit match at the end went 2 hours and 26 minutes or something like that. It was a long match, and obviously both these ladies knew that they could be in for something like that. So what I was really impressed by, like right off the bat, is there wasn't a lot of like explosiveness. Every move that they were making was like very, very calculated and calm, and because they're grappling with the knowledge that this match could go a long time. Now it didn't, but it was really cool seeing that. Nikki is just so tricky with her guard, inflexible, and I don't know, like just her game is so much just like tangling up her opponent.
Yeah, I haven't watched. I don't recall Nikki's game too much. I know she plays a mean guard and has great guard retention. And yeah, as you were saying, like, match wasn't crazy explosive, but like really technical exchanges, and it seemed like Nikki got an upper hand on some of these exchanges and then chained them into just constant attack sequences. And both of them, speaking of both of them, like, they both were kind of wary of that no time limit feel. They obviously don't want a match that goes for hours, but I remember, talking to Nikki after the match. She was like curious how long the match went, and I think it was like 13 minutes on the dot or something like that. And she was like, thank God, because like I actually don't have the gas tank to go like for a really, really extended match. So that was like cool to hear. And then Aislinn, on the other hand, was sharing that that she still had quite a lot to go, quite a lot left to go in the gas tank. She just felt like maybe she should have pulled the trigger more in the match, just playing more defensive to kind of like rope-a-dope. But Nikki was able to finally get, I think, some good setup in these chain attacks she started with. I think it all started from mostly like a front head, like she rose up hip heist or rose up from bottom and got a front headlock, and it turned into a bunch of turtle attacks and led into like a crucifix and all that jazz. I definitely wanted to see more some of the leg exchanges. I think Aislinn is brilliant in those spots, and it would have been interesting to see how Nikki dealt with those exchanges, but it seemed like Nikki was playing more just defensive and escape first mentality rather than do a full-on shootout, which is always fun to see, but just obviously a dangerous spot.
Yeah, there was a point where I believe Nikki did enter into the legs, and Aislinn was working a counter, and then Nikki kind of reset position and then never really engaged back in there. So
Nikki went for like an inversion, and Aislinn pummeled her leg in, which that was going to be her strategy on how she was going to deal with the panda guard. One of those cases where you're getting ready for submission only, Aislinn's at 50%, and I think she could roll at 50% for like, an hour plus, 2 hours. Like if you're going 50%, it's a lot easier to keep that pace. And maybe Nikki's at 70%. Maybe so I know when it comes to intensity, it makes a huge difference on kind of where you're at in that threshold. I can go 80% probably for 15, 20 minutes, and then I'm dead. So you're going to be putting all of it in, and if you're at 50%, you're a lot more relaxed, and it's easy to go at that pace. If you watch Gordon and Pena, Gordon was going, he looked like he was going at 50% the first 30 minutes of that match. And then he picked it up to about 70%, 75%, the last portion of it, and he broke him because Pena was at a higher percentage, and Gordon was just super relaxed. He was taking it. He wasn't wasting any energy, and you could see the efficiency play out, which might have been the case, but we didn't really get to see that with Nikki and Aislinn because it only went the 13 minutes. So you could either go out there and you can sprint on them, or you can go on like a fast, mile where it's like, okay, I'm going to push this, I'm going to push the threshold, I'm going to break them. Or you can play the long game where you're playing, like Brianna and Hannah, and you're going 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Man, it's still crazy to think that like because we've only had 2 matches on WASUB, that people want to ask, yeah, I want to do a submission only, no time limit match. What's the average time that usually takes? It's even just with 2 matches, it's still an hour and 15 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those can go long. Like, as much as you don't want it to go forever, like, you never know. Like, your opponent might just have incredible like defense, never lets anything really happen to them. But I think, oh yeah, that's right. In this match, the sequences started working for Nikki when she got the Omo set up. Yeah, she got the omoplata and gets a crucifix, or gets the other arm, so it's crucifix-like when she rolls through. And then I think just seeing her Instagram today, she named the submission like Gumby Plata or something.
Yeah,
so, yeah. Because it was a really wicked use of flexibility to both totally break her opponent. But
yeah, what I was stoked about is that there was no lack of like engagement either. I always get nervous like when I see these submission only, no time limit stuff where it's like, are these people just gonna be like, I don't know, smacking each other with collar ties the entire time? But it wasn't like that. It's like from square one, like both of them were moving in, attacking, trying to get their games going.
Yeah, the match. Like, I don't think there was any way it was gonna be static too much because Nikki doesn't like. Yeah, she usually opts out of wrestling, so she's gonna pull guard, and I know Aislinn doesn't mind immediately taking top position at pass. So they both kind of get what they want at the start of the match, and then they can play into their preferences from there. So. No shying about like the wrestling in the beginning or anything. Just straight to the strong points of their games, and then just emphasizing on attacks from there. So,
I hate to contradict Liam, but Nikki Sullivan actually snapped down Aislinn on a front headlock.
She does snap her down later, yeah. But
I think that was the first exchange on the ground. She guarded the ground with the front headlock, and Aislinn just kind of went with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Nikki opts to do that, she can do that in her game. But I know because we literally spoke with her at like a pub after the match that she hates wrestling and would rather always opt to pull guard. I guess if the snap down works, like I don't like wrestling either, but yeah, if a snap down works for me, then I'll take it, right? So
I think Aislinn, again, she was just on that 50% mode where she kind of like I watch it and she literally goes to her knees. Like Nikki. It doesn't even look like Nikki was pulling, like she was pulling her down, but like Aislinn just dropped to both of her knees when she grabbed the head.
Here's the exchange.
Nice.
Yeah.
But, it's a case of just, one person just getting behind on those defensive cycles. Aislinn was able to break it the first time. But the second time after she gave it up, it was just, too many, and it's just not enough action where you're just kind of waiting, you're waiting, which was the case on the omoplata. Like, I haven't really seen that finished too often at a high level in no-gi. So it was nice to kind of, see that variation. It sucks it was on Aislinn. But I do think if she was able to maybe just go a little bit sooner, I just don't think she recognized the danger. It would have been tough. Once she had that second shoulder collected, I don't think there was getting out of it. But initially, when she was in that omoplata, I think Aislinn was thinking more about the leg entanglements. And then there was a point of no return where it just went a little bit too far, and she was controlling that second shoulder, and it was a day late and a buck short, and she was playing from behind, and it was going to be really, really Houdini-esque to get out of that position. that was the day on our Washington Submission Series invite recap. Other events, we had Battle Grappling. It was a great show. It's on Flow Grappling. What'd you guys think? Just short little.
A bunch of great matches. Could start earlier. was really tired. Didn't get home till like 2 a.m. at least.
We're not asking for criticism for the
Commentary was fantastic.
Yeah, whoever was on commentary for both these events is pretty solid.
Unfortunately, it could have been better.
Yeah.
Michael Dreyer was on it.
Hey, we're not looking for criticisms, okay?
Yeah, right.
We ain't looking for criticisms. Either way, yeah, it was fun. It's always, those events are always fun. I enjoy heading up to Bellingham to watch them, and I don't know, I can't remember who won the.
They have a great champion, actually.
Yeah,
the 135.
The 165. Yeah,
I would have messed with that guy.
Yeah.
I heard his matches were like 4 minutes combined between like the three of them. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Liam could take him. Actually, Liam had an opportunity to, but he turned it down. He didn't want to ruin the opportunity. Didn't want to upset the bracket.
No point.
Yeah.
15-second Imanari roll probably would have been like a 10-second one if Liam hopped in.
Ah, God, that's so mean.
True.
You never catch me. That's never working out.
I don't think I usually catch anybody with Imanari rolls, so I don't think you would have saw it coming.
I definitely would have saw it coming. Considering we
I didn't
warmed
know
up
I
in
was
the
gonna
cage together.
Okay, next time we're gonna have to separate these two. It's getting a little chippy here. All right.
Well, I can
So
settle it at the next Washington Submission Series.
Oh yeah, settle at the next Washington Submission Series. There we go.
Yeah, that'll be the main event, submission only. Me versus Liam.
Just do an exhibition match, yeah.
It really wasn't fair. I was coming off a match with Giant Slayer, and I just had that Giant Slayer pace out there. So those guys, I felt that world championship roosterweight pace, and the bantamweights, they're feeling pretty slow. So other than that, it was. Who was in the finals? It was Brooke and
Raffato.
Raffato.
Can't remember.
She looked really good. We have to get her on the show. Harrison Woods, he also looked really good. He had Alex Alarmi. We're going to get him on the show in the future. He actually tried to be a part of this Washington Submission Series. I just did not allow it just because I thought he would destroy everybody, which I think I was right. I thought I was right because Alex Alarmi, he won our bracket. Not to say he did destroy, I think, Alex Alarmi in the match. For battle grappling, not to say the other guys wouldn't give him trouble. It's just he looked like he was on a different level at battle grappling. So in the future, we're gonna get that kid out.
Did he want in on the heavyweight bracket?
He did. He
Yeah.
He wanted in the heavyweight bracket, and I was like, I kind of want just bigger guys. And unfortunately, one of our guys dropped out last second, and Alex's opponent dropped out last second, so it just made sense. I offered it to him. I gave him two different options, and he took the heavyweights. So
Yeah.
I was also gonna put him, Wesley, and Mikey. I was thinking about putting those guys together, which was my other option, which would have been really cool too. But we went heavyweight. Maybe I didn't offer that to him yet. He immediately it was like, okay, I'll hop in on the heavyweight. But the other backup plan was to throw him in there with Mikey and Wesley, and kind of do like a round robin between those guys, which would have been sick too. But he won his Wassup chain, his glory. So it's a pretty cool chain. I'm sure he's not mad at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just one more thing is calling out battle grappling for They had an intermediate, was it 165 or 185 pound women's bracket too, which is I think pretty cool, giving opportunities to not only women but women of a higher weight. A lot of times we see these tournaments capped at like 145, 155 for women, so it was cool to see that, as well as the intermediate level. That was won by Lisa Blackwater, I believe, as well. So shout out to her.
Yeah, I got to see her in Canada compete against Aislinn, so I kind of knew that she was, one of the most active competitors out there, and she really showed it in the bracket. She had a really good showing from start to finish, just on constant attacks. And that's kind of how it is. If you're active on the local scene, it makes a big difference for these super fight shows.
She's the one from 10 Planet Coquitlam?
Or Vancouver is what it is now.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
But reps Tempe, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So future events. Our next tournament is going to be, I believe, November 12th or 13th. We haven't locked it down yet, but we have an open tournament coming out. If you are, you're looking for some matches, sign up. Square site, Duck-Jitsu. I'm sure we'll be dropping the poster soon, and we may be debuting our kids too. We're working on some new medals, and we might drop the kids bracket. Other than that, we have Battle Grappling October 15th. Make sure to watch out for that. Tune in, Flow Grappling, pay attention to Instagram, all that on their social media. Keep an eye out for February, March for our next Super Fight show.
That Jiu-Jitsu will be sponsoring.
He says now, but
Yeah, we'll see what happens when it comes time to do it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
one more shout out to Grinds 3 CBD, one of the sponsors, as well as Dreamwalk Coffee, as well as Aiden Claw Jiu-Jitsu for hosting the event that we just reviewed, and as well as Duck-Jitsu. Stick around for the next Duck-Jitsu podcast.
And AEP Performance.
AEP Performance.
Zach
Sorry,
Hernandez.
Zach. I remembered that.
His
was on
logo's
there.
right here.
Yeah.
That's on you, producer.
All right.